The Memphis Grizzlies go out to protect their investment in the best way possible by bringing in a veteran, and they couldn't have found no one better than the veteran Derrick Rose. If you haven't been living under a rock, you know that Derrick Rose is a former MVP in this league, one of the youngest MVP in NBA history, if you don't mind you. But the one thing that makes him as interesting and pivotal to this decision here, that I think is a great move for the Memphis Grizzlies, is where he's from, what he's accomplished, and also his style of play. Many people have actually looked at Ja Morant and said, hey, that kid reminds me of Derrick Rose. And if you've been around when Derrick Rose was on the scene in his prime before his injuries, Poop was getting busy. As someone from Chicago who's been there, who's seen him live, who's seen him in person, I'm gonna tell you this: he was a problem, and most people will sit there and tell you that. You don't have to go far to find highlights of him getting busy. However, when it comes to actually bringing along a young star now, one of the main things that you have to wonder is who can you bring in to actually get through to these particular players? Who can you sit there and say, who's been there, who's done that, who can be respected? Now, here's the difference. Most people knew that the Memphis Grizzlies needed a vet. And by the way, this is more of a cultural help groom type situation. I highly doubt this is because, oh, we want him to come in and be former MVP Derrick Rose. I highly doubt that. I think even he would agree with that. However, what he can provide to this team is absolutely what we're about to discuss. And it's a simple fact that he's been there, he's done that. He's someone who's been well respected. If you know his story, you already know maybe the person that Ja Morant is, who he's portraying. Well, that's absolutely the background that Derrick Rose has. So not only has he accomplished one of the most prestigious awards in this league, he comes from a background that absolutely reflects, could have reflected or been something that Ja Morant could relate to in regards to where the decisions he's making, the people he's around, and things of that nature. And again, we're talking to someone who's actually been around him at a point in school, and yeah, it was a situation at times in which, yeah, Chicago could be a very dangerous place. It could be something that you could easily fall in trouble to, but it's all about having the right people around you. And Derrick Rose and his brothers absolutely insulated him to make sure that he didn't get into any type of that trouble. And that's the same thing that Ja Morant needs to do. He needs to get the right people around him. He needs to have the right people in his ear. And I think they found the right person to do it. At the same time, I think this is someone who can help him with his game. One thing that if you've watched Derrick Rose and how he played, how hard he attacked the paint and things of that nature, you always notice that how he couldn't control, how out of control at times he seemed, or how much he hit the floor, rather, is what I'm trying to say. And Ja Morant has that same problem. Every time I see Ja Morant, it's a highlight play, and I love watching him play, but he hits that floor so hard and so often that I was like, hey, no one can stop him but him and the floor at this point, because that's just a really, really bad injury away. And you actually got a chance to see that. In fact, in the playoff series, if it wasn't for him actually falling, ironically, and breaking his hand or injuring his hand the way he did, that series could have gone a whole different way. And so now you have someone who's been there, who's had that explosiveness, who's played that style of game, who also can come in and give you quality minutes as well. They couldn't have found a better pickup. And I'm actually happy. If you're from Chicago, you know Derrick Rose will always have a special place in your heart, especially during the time he was here. I'm happy to see that he's actually having an opportunity not to just be an impact on the floor, but in the locker room as well. Like I never want to see people who've had a career, had the potential of like he did, sit there and just be a straggler within the league, but someone who could actually have a good impact. I think this is the best situation for him. But I want to hear your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, man, put it in the comments. It's going to be, again, a busy off season, but we're going to get to it. Till next time.